Did Paddy really defeat Jared Gordon? That is the question, because according to Paddy, he did. According to the judges' scorecards, he did. But if you listen to fans, if you look at the comments on social media, if you look at people on Twitter, all around the world, the general consensus seems to be that Jared Gordon won the fight, not Paddy. So let's talk about it. So we have the stats, we have the judges' scorecards, and they had it 29-28 with Paddy generally winning the first two rounds. Jared outstruck him in the first round, 30 to 29 strikes. Round two, I think Paddy landed one more, and in round three, we saw Jared go out there and have a terrible game plan, according to Dana. And I understand why Dana would say that, to be honest, because the reality is this was a very, very close fight, and it could have gone either way. Certainly, the word robbery doesn't apply here. That is something that a lot of MMA fans have got to stop saying. When the judges don't agree with your decision, but it's a close fight, that's not a robbery. It's a difference of opinion. And I'm not defending the judges, by the way, because they are trained professionals. That's what they do, but they do get it wrong. And they come out with some utter nonsense sometimes. But so let's talk about the fight. So round one, Jared goes out there, and for my money, he outstruck him. And we know that according to stats, but I'm talking about the damage. Damage, as we know, is the number one criteria. Jared landed the biggest shots. That's without fact. The left hook, that was the money shot. I called it. I said he throws a straight right to the body. The left hook, that's his best shot. And he seemingly couldn't miss with that left hook. He connected on Paddy many, many times. He had Paddy going backwards. A lot of the time he had him retreating and circling the octagon and trying to avoid him. So I think round one, I think it's pretty clear. It certainly was from my perspective. I was there ringside with my wife. I was watching the fights, and round one I thought, wow, Jared went out there, imposed his game plan. Paddy definitely landed some shots, of course. He was in the fight. It was close, as I said. But I had Jared winning round one. Now round two, Paddy outstruck him. There were some scrambles. And you can make an argument for Paddy in that one, certainly based on the fact that he landed more. But I think Jared still landed the more significant blows. And this is a fight here. But still, if we're being fair, we'll give Paddy round two. So it's 1-1 going into round three. And this is where Dana's point kind of comes in, that he had a terrible game plan in round three. Because if it was close, which they were, even on the numbers, Jared should have gone out there, and if he did take him down, which he did, because he was able to win most of the wrestling transitions, some nice takedowns, some good wrestling in effect, he could have been busier. He could have been more active on the feet. He should have been trying to knock him out or get the finish. That's what you do. And then Paddy even said afterwards,
I won the first two rounds and then coasted in the third.
So the same applies. Same applies what Dana said. Don't take round three off. In a close fight, even if you think you're up, you don't do that. So Paddy made a mistake, and Jared kind of made a mistake. Listen, in the third round, Jared won that round clearly. Damage is the number one criteria. But if there isn't much damage on either side, then you go to other things like octagon control, aggression, game plan, things like that. Duration of control. Jared had duration of control for most of round three. Paddy landed a couple of shots, but let's be honest, it was one of those rounds where, people were starting to look at the phones and things like that. There wasn't a lot happening. So I think both men need to learn from that there. But for my money, it was 30-27 or 29-28 for Jared Gordon. And I feel for him. Listen, I feel for Paddy as well. I do, because if you look on social media now, he's getting part of the week with Ariel and Dana. People kind of turned on him for that one. And then now with the fight, with the post-fight, he didn't really give Jared too much credit. He was kind of cocky about the result. And when you scrape by a decision like that, you've got to be humble. You have to. And guess what? I'm talking from experience, because I've been there. I've been exactly in Paddy's position. I was in the UFC. I was younger than Paddy. I was 26, I think. 26 years old. I fought Matt Hamill, and I was the man. I was getting all the attention in. I was new to it, and you let it all go to your head a little bit. But in that fight against Matt Hamill, which was a very, very close fight, I thought I was going to breeze through him. I thought I was going to knock him out quite easy. I thought I was just going to wipe the floor with him. And we had a little grudge at the time. And afterwards on the microphone, when it was a very, very close fight, that I was very, very lucky to get a decision. And then I got on the microphone and I talked a bit of shit. I was cocky. I wasn't humble. The universe turned on me. People were booing in the arena, even though I was British. Online, everyone hated me, and rightly so.
Bisping's just a dick.
Because looking back, I made a mistake. I was a fool. When you get a lucky decision, when it's a very close fight, you've got to be humble. But listen, we're in the moment. You've just gone out there and fought. You've got adrenaline flowing through your system like crazy. In your mind, you think you won the fight. You think you smashed it. You think you dominated it. But you live and learn. And then you make some silly comments. And that's kind of what Paddy did there. You know, he thought it was fight of the night. I think it was not fight of the night. We know that. But yeah, but there it is. I thought Jared won. You know, commiserations to Jared. Well done to Paddy. It was a close fight. It wasn't a robbery. You know, Jared, I think his stock will rise through this, even though he lost. I think in a lot of people's minds he won the fight, and therefore he handled himself with class and all the rest of it like Jared always does. And for Paddy, it's just a momentary bump in the road. I mean, listen, the good news for Paddy is that he won. He's now 4-0 in the UFC. So now it's time. I mean, he talks a big game. He says he doesn't want to call anybody out. He says that it's too big for the O2 Arena in London, which they're going back there in March. But, you know, it's time to start fighting some of the top competition. And I think when you look at Jared, who wasn't yet ranked, a lot of people thought he won the fight. I thought he won the fight. He was able to out-wrestle him. He was able to take him down. He was able to outland him on the feet. You know, Paddy needs to do some work, you know, but he'll learn from this. It's all a learning curve. So I look forward to the next fight for both men. It's going to be interesting. Even a rematch down the line, that might be interesting as well. But still, they're not going to do the rematch. They're going to do, you know, Paddy's going to continue on. He's a big star. He's still got a huge following. You just got to learn. You got to learn from these things.